someone that didn't bring fire to the roof today was the Liverpool team. They did not bring fire to the Anfield roof.
Didn't bring fire to the football pitch.
Yeah. Before we get back to your calls, let's now hear from Liverpool boss Arne Slot, who spoke about his side's defeat to talkSPORT's chief football correspondent, Alex Crook.
Yeah, the last thing you want if you play against a team that wants to defend and wants to play every ball long, that you go 1-0 down so fast. And that's what we did. And if you would have told me before the game that we were able to create so many chances against the low block, against a team that kicks every ball long, then I would have said probably that's not possible. So, but we were able. So normally you would score much more than 1 goal, and you were not expecting with the chances we gave away to concede 2. But we make a bad habit out of creating a lot, not scoring, conceding not so much, but do concede 2 goals.
What's the key to getting out of this run that you're on of defeats?
Now it will be helpful to win. That always helps, because I can keep talking to the players, the mentality they've shown, how much chances they've created. I can show it tomorrow again. But what lasts is the results, or what stays in our mind. And the longer results go against you, the more you wonder if they can keep producing what they are producing, because I don't think I can complain about any player when it comes to work rate. They just give everything, no matter how hard the circumstances are. With going 1-0 down so early when one of our players is on the floor. So many things go against us at the moment. And then it's up to us to fight ourselves out of that. But as long as the mentality is as it is at the moment, I have all reason to believe that we are able to win football games again.
That was Arne Slot, the Liverpool manager, speaking to Alex Crook, our chief football correspondent. What did you make of that? Some indirect digs there, wasn't there?
Yeah, I mean, obviously they did create a lot of chances, but so did United for me, you know, and probably the better chances went to United. So, yeah, there is an argument to that they created a lot, but, you know, it was dysfunctional. It was kind of, you know, seat of the pants kind of football, particularly towards the end. And that's not really an Arne Slot team, the way I think about how they won it last year. But, you know, what is always very, very difficult, Madge, is to back up
what you did last year
when you won it, when you're the champions, because everyone's coming for you, everyone's looking at you, everyone's expecting this. So they're bought big, they're trying to back it up, and at the moment it just looks all a little bit off key. I mean, that's the word. We're talking about your records in key and a little bit of rhythm. Liverpool are the exact opposite to that great tune you just played.
Out of key with no rhythm.
Yeah.
And you know what? You mentioned before having that sort of vast amount of luxuries, right? It's almost like good food, isn't it? Like, you know, you've got all these ingredients, yeah? If you have too many of the really good ones and you put them all together, it's going to be, when people say, oh, it's a bit rich, you know, at the moment, Liverpool, they've got an abundance of talent there, and they're not knowing where to play something. Well, let's just put it all in there. Yeah. And I think that...
And also, what you don't understand is, you know, and what he will be experiencing with his coaching team is the dynamic in the dressing room.
Yeah.
You know, is Isak giving it the big one? Is he kind of just settling in nicely? Is someone put someone's nose out of joint? Is there a little bit of bad feeling in there? Is there a bit of favouritism to Salah? So all those kind of things are adding to the mix, which obviously we can't possibly be party to, only the people in the dressing room.
Well,
but the one thing, I just want to finish on something he said at the end there, which is very true for a manager. When you're on a losing run, what you're trying to do is pick out the positives, right? You say, well, we expected goals were great, we performed well, our fight was good, our distances were covered, and you're trying to gloss it up to go to the next game. And what he was more or less saying after those 4 defeats is, look, I can't gloss it up anymore. We just need to win. Yeah. And that you do get to that stage, and that is an uncomfortable stage.
Absolutely. And you know what's interesting? You mentioned about the dressing room and the dynamics. Of course, you're privy to it because you've been in there. But what's been really telling is, obviously, I don't know if you've seen this week, this whole Wilfried Zaha and Mateta beef that's going on. Have you seen it?
No.
So I think whilst Zaha was at Crystal Palace and Mateta was there as well, there was basically talk to Mateta that you'll never get into the French team. And he's called out Zaha for saying that. And when he's got into the French team, he's gone and said, look, I'm here now, right? But then Zaha's come back and said, mate, what, the 10 of us were talking about that situation. Why are you calling me out? Is it because I'm the big name, right? Yeah. And then he said, and here's the context. We said, whilst Giroud, Griezmann and Benzema are in the French team, you're unlikely to make it. Do you know what I mean? So there could be those conversations.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Does that happen? Is there that sort of rivalry between people? Maybe Ekatike and him are going, I'll take your place.
Of course. And you have to remember that the egos of these players are such that they're expected to have success. Their agents expect them to have success. Their families expect them. That's why they're at a club like Liverpool. So you have all that complexities of going on in the dressing room and subtleties that sometimes, as a manager, you're not even party to.
Yeah.
Like that. You're talking about that conversation there. I'm pretty sure Glasner doesn't know nothing about that.
No.
And so it's like a different kind of feeling. But what you do know is that Liverpool, I agree with Arne Slot on one thing today. They don't look like they're throwing the towel in, or it looks like somebody's angry or frustrated. They're just not functioning.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? They're not in a really bad place. They're just in a dysfunctional kind of who should start, who should be on the bench, what's the best blend, what's the best system that's going to take us to a 10-game winning run, because that's where they need to be right now. And, their games are coming thick and fast. They play Frankfurt on Wednesday, which is a tough game away. And then they've got to travel back, which will be Thursday. Then they've got to play Saturday night, which is not a great...
Brentford.
At Brentford, under the lights, with Brentford, who are a tough team at home. So, the next 2 games are tricky. 4
defeats in a row now. It took Liverpool
no kind of cohesion, no rhythm to Liverpool.
Is that like the collapse of their tight defence?
Well, I wouldn't go as far as saying that. I mean, obviously, the armoury that he has in that dressing room is like phenomenal. He hasn't got the best out of Wirtz yet. Isak isn't really, hit the ground running. Ekatike looked a handful when he come on.
Yeah, I think he should have started.
Yeah, maybe he's the one to stick through the middle for a little bit. And let Isak kind of really get hungry and work on his fitness.
I want to talk about Isak quickly because you mentioned off air before about a comparison with a former Liverpool star that made a big money move once upon a time, Fernando Torres. Do you think there could be some similarities? Talk me through what you meant by that.
Well, sometimes, when Torres was at Liverpool, I mean, he looked just like...
one of the best we've ever seen in the Premier League.
Yeah, on another level. Like Haaland, we was like lauding him as everything, he was everything that you'd want as a striker. And he had even more to his game than Haaland, in my opinion, Torres. Absolutely. At that time. Absolutely. He could run, he was probably better travelling with the ball. He could beat people
100%.
Probably better than Haaland. There was other assets that Haaland has that he doesn't. But anyway... the point I'm trying to say is that move to Chelsea, which everyone would assume would be rubber stamped to be a massive success, wasn't. And he struggled, and he never really kind of fitted in the system that they had. And Newcastle, when you look at Newcastle last year, a lot of their play was fast and crosses, like fast crosses coming in the box early. And he is not that it's not that system at Liverpool. It's a different system. All the teams are going to come and win with a low block. You're going to have to find little pockets of space. What Haaland has to do at Man City, how many times have we watched Haaland not actually do much, but have the capacity when the moment comes to smash it in the back of the net? Now, Isak's going to need to learn that, to be patient. And Torres never really come to terms with it at Chelsea. And I drew that comparison. And this is early to draw it, by the way, but it's something that, that Isak, I'm sure, will not want.
Absolutely. Lots of subs at the end as well. Trying to work out the formation Liverpool had in the game. It was quite hard to tell. They were throwing everything at it, basically.
Yeah, and I think this is part of Liverpool's problem. Last year he was changing the front three, and it was all working in, they were 1-1, they put 3 subs on, and suddenly they won 2-1. Or they were winning 1-0 and they got another goal when the 3 strikers come on. And he's got the same armoury this year, but it's just not happening. And I think, his choices now are going to be under question. That makes it even more difficult when you've got that kind of power from the bench to change the game. Sometimes the temptation is to do it early, and I thought he did today. 60 minutes, we had 6 or 7 offensive players on for Liverpool, and no balance to the team.
No, and it did look like Man United were the likelier two to score at some point. And you mentioned Harry Maguire, who's taken a lot of stick, a lot of flack over the years. Absolutely fantastic. Mr. Man United turning up once again to get them the 3 points. So let's turn our attention quickly to Manchester United, because... in terms of Ruben Amorim's career at United, it's got to be his best day so far, Pards.
Yeah. Well, first, 30. Who would have said 30 games for Man United to get back-to-back wins is taking this long? And he was quite right after the game to praise the fans who've stayed with him, stayed loyal, and they're brilliant, the fans at Manchester United. And they've got their reward, because I think he is worth standing by. I don't think all the problems lay at his door in terms of the system that was been thrown at him, and the fact that the results have not been the level that they should be at Man United. They're at a low place, and he's having to pick them up and drive with it. The front three look okay. I like the look of Cunha, and Bubo is a top player. He took the goal well today. There's a lot to like about Man United. I still think they're, not really title contenders as yet, but they're certainly moving in the right direction. And for Amorim, his glass of Portuguese red wine will taste very sweet this evening.
Will this turn out to be a really bad result for Liverpool coming the end of the season, Pods?
Well, it's just concerning, isn't it? 3 defeats. It took them 34 games, and this year it's taken them 8 to get 3 defeats on the ball. Now, when you want to be champions, and I go back to like trying to get promoted out of League One or the Championship. Losing games, every game that you lose when you're trying to win the title is so difficult. It knocks you back. And to have these 3 league defeats already is a worry. So it gives you the margins, which we know are always tight in the Premier League, to put you on edge. And so therefore, when you're getting near the end of games going forward, games you cannot afford to lose, you're going to get nervous.